Let's listen to what Andrew Tate had to say about capitalism.
What I'm saying is that young men are waking up in a world where they stand no chance of having any of the things their fathers had. They're never going to have a wife who respects them and loves them because their wife's on TikTok and believes she deserves a G-Wagon full of roses. And they believe they need a Lambo at 19. And nobody wants to work a job because jobs don't pay. And nobody wants to go to school because a degree isn't going to pay. And nobody can save up to buy a house because you can no longer compound your work in dollars. You can't go to work, do an hour's work, put it in the bank, do another hour's work, put it in the bank, and save up to buy a house because you're being outpaced by inflation, money printing, all these wars, all this Somali fraud, taxes. You're being outpaced. You can't even save money anymore. So when young men are waking up in a world where their only chance to possibly get rich is effectively gamble on crypto, literally gamble, they're sitting here going, well, this system's broken. Who's behind this system? Why am I living in such a broken system? And there is a theory, and there's many theories as to who's in charge of the world or who built this system or why the system's so broken. There is a theory that it's the Jews. That's why anti-Semitism is going to continue no matter what Israel does, whether they stop the bombing or not, whether the Jews come on the news and shut this song down or not, whether they try and ostracize anyone who talks about them or not. None of that's going to change anything as long as you have a huge percentage of young men who stand no hope in life. Because when you've always, in any point in human history, when you find a large subset of the young masculine population that have no hope, it's going to be a revolution. They're looking for somebody to blame, and they're going to do something. They're going to become radicalized. That happens absolutely everywhere. So for you to ask me, where are we in the Israel conversation? I don't think it matters what Israel does, or Bibi, what he says, or what Trump says. I don't think any of that matters. When you have all these men out here who have no hope of building a good life, they're going to find somebody to blame for it, whether it's immigrants. That's what it is in European countries.
What would you do? You're 22, and you're 22 today.
Yeah.
Not 39. You're 22 today, and you're seeing what the market's going, and your brain's going, a million miles an hour. You're consuming all this information. How would you position yourself when you're watching? Some of the influence. It's always the Jews. It's Israel. It's this. It's that. How would you process it to differentiate yourself?
Okay, so the first thing is, I think it's very easy to confuse finding someone to blame or finding out what's happening with fixing the problem. And I think I'm not going to lie, there's definitely a large percentage of people on the internet who are looking for someone to blame as opposed to taking personal responsibility to fix the problem. There's no Jew that's stopping you from going to the gym and being in good shape. No Jew is stopping you walking into a gym. So, you have personal responsibility and personal accountability. And in many situations, even if they're unfair, even if the game is rigged, the best thing you can do is say, well, these are the rules I'm playing within, and I have to try and win and take absolute personal responsibility for everything. That's the first thing. The second thing, you asked what I would do if I was 22. That is a very difficult question to answer because I think we've moved into a new stage of capitalism. We've moved into this heavily financialized, this stock market bubble version of capitalism, which is different than the consumer capitalism we used to live under. In the 90s, you got rich by opening a mom and pop shop or opening a factory. I make lighters and I'm going to sell you lighters and you're going to buy the lighters and I'm going to produce them and I'm going to make a profit and I'm going to get rich. But what chance do you have of manufacturing anything in the West? Zero. What chance do you have of competing with any of these large conglomerates or monopolies in the West? Basically zero. If I gave you $1 million in 1990 and said make more money, you'd open businesses. If I give you $1 million now and said make more money, you put it in the stock market or you buy Bitcoin. So you're a lot of the times just investing in the monopolies. It's getting easier and easier to make money from money and harder to make money from nothing. And this is the problem with the world we're in because young people have no money. So to make their first million is nearly impossible. But to turn $1 million into 10 million is easy. Buy and chill. That's it. So it's getting worse and worse. And this ties into what I said earlier about the fact that since 2016, we have trillions and trillions of brand new dollars, GDP's through the roof, stock market's all-time high, everyone with money is richer, but the country actually, if you look around, doesn't feel richer at all. The economy is actually worse than it's ever been. The real economy at the bottom. The rich are just getting richer all of the time. So as a 22-year-old, what they're currently doing, it's because they understand this. They're all becoming radicalized. Some of them are finding people to blame for it and sitting and lamenting and crying in their bedrooms about the situation. Some are going, okay, I need to find a way out and are effectively gambling. This is why meme coins are such a big thing. This is why prediction markets are such a big thing. This is why online casinos are making larger profits than they've ever made. Because a young man understands $10,000 means nothing. I need 10 million. $10,000 is nothing. I may as well just gamble it. 10,000 and zero is the same. So all the young men in the world today are just throwing their money away, trying to get enough money to turn that money into money, because that's the only way to make money now. The solution to all of this is extremely complicated. It's difficult. I don't know what the solution is. For me to answer the question, what would I do at 22? Well, I'll do the same thing I've always done. I'd become so exceptional that I can disprove the rule. I could say, all right, buy average is nearly impossible. Yes, the game is rigged. Yes, it's extremely hard to do, but I'm not the average guy.
Is that an evergreen philosophy?
I think it is.
I think so as well.
I think the only thing you can do, if everything that is told to us about the Jews controlling America and the system being rigged, if all of that's true, the correct answer is still to get up, work hard, be better than everyone else, try harder than everyone else does, and excel. That's the only answer. You can sit and tweet all day if you want, but it's not going to fix your life. So that is the answer. However, the game is certainly becoming harder, because I can talk from personal experience. It is so easy for me to turn money into money, and it is so difficult for me to find a business that makes me money. It's hard now, even for me in this current economy. It's so easy for me to buy an asset and wait. That's the safest, easiest thing I can do. And this is the world we live in. And you know what that does to asset prices? They soar. So what happens to the young people? We're living in financialized capitalism. That's always
been the case, though. That's always been the case.
I don't think so. I think, of course, you could always make money from assets. Of course you could. But what I'm saying
buy and hold is a thing that's been around for a while.
But the idea that you could open a business and make money from the business, I think that's become a lot harder now than it would have been in the year 2000.
You think it's hard to start a business today?
I think it's harder to open
in America? It's the easiest time
I think it's harder to open a physical business in the West today than it was 20 years ago.
Let me hear it.
Like a mom and pop shop.
Just to start a business.
I think it's harder to open a physical business in the West, anywhere, not just America, in the West today than it ever was. I think 20 years ago you stood a better chance of opening a physical business anywhere. I think now by the time you open anything...
Unpack that.
You're competing with conglomerates and monopolies. You can't sell phone chargers. You can't. By the time you take all the products Amazon sell, all the products Walmart sell, all the products Target sell, if you look at the amount of small independent stores that used to exist only 20 years ago, everyone's out of business. It's monopolized. Most things are completely monopolized in the West. So it's very difficult for you as an individual to go and start a company and compete with these monopolies. You can do something online, of course, but this ties into what we were saying earlier. If you're trying to make money online, how do you do it? You need attention. How do you get attention online? Well, you can have life experience like all of us. You can go through a very, very difficult life and you can tell stories and you can try to be entertaining, but most people can't do that. You're 23. So how do you make money online? Well, you need attention. How do you get attention online? You're a clown. And this ties into all the problems with society by and large. This ties into all the crap we see with online pranking and these stupid things that are going on and these TikTok videos and all this garbage and people literally risking their lives, setting themselves on fire to try and promote a meme coin. All of this is from desperation because young men do not see a way out of the trap. The system was very, very clear before. Go to school, get a degree, get a good job, save your money, buy a house. Nobody in good faith can say that that still works.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
The game has changed.
The game has changed. The game is broken. And it's broken. I'll tell you why it's broken.
I disagree with you.
When you have a game where 90% of people playing it are going to lose, and then you believe they're not going to be revolutionaries in some form or another, then you haven't read enough history books, sir.
Tate.
They're going to find someone to blame, and they're going to burn it down.
I agree with that.
Why is socialism winning in New York? I'll tell you why. Because people are broke. So they think, why would I buy into capitalism? Everyone tells me socialism's so bad all the time. Everyone tells me that communism's terrible and Mamdani's terrible, and I've read about the history, I've read about the communists. Everyone says socialism's bad. Well, I'm living in capitalism and I have no fucking health care and I can't afford a house. So what do I have to lose at this point? You wonder why the socialists and the Democrats keep winning? You wonder why they keep winning even though their policies are bullshit? You wonder why they win even though they put the taxes up? Because young people are completely disenfranchised with this system because they are poor. On top of being poor, they're watching social media with people who are rich. Do you understand the envy this is creating? Do you understand that a young man can't even talk to a girl because he's not a millionaire? 19-year-old men are saying to me, girls don't talk to me because I have no money. So you're not supposed to have money. You're 19. You're supposed to just be charming and in good shape and have fun. Girls don't want that. Girls want money. The world is completely broken in the West now. It's completely broken. So we've entered this really dangerous stage where if we don't blame Israel, if they find something else to blame, it doesn't matter. Things are gonna burn. If you have a whole bunch of young men who are never gonna get a family, never gonna have any money, never gonna own a house, they're completely disenfranchised with the system they live within. If you read a history book, that ends one way, sooner or later. And we need to bring these people into the system. If we want to be capitalistic, and all of us are capitalists, we need to at least offer the young people a chance to play the game. We can't say capitalism's fantastic, communism's terrible, capitalism's the best, but you can't play. Here's my Bugatti. No one's going to accept that for long.
Who says you can't play?
Yeah.
They can't play because the rules are too hard. Because we've entered a new form of financialized capitalism where the easiest way for you to make money is to take money and turn it into money. And, you know, I'm not an economist. I'm not an economist, and I'm not going to pretend I am. But if you take numbers on a screen and turn it into more numbers on a screen, there has to be someone's getting fucked there. It ain't me, because I've taken my money, done no work, and turned it into more. But someone else somewhere along the line is getting wrecked for me to get more money because I turn my money into money without work. That is, you can say it's usury, you can say whatever it is. What I'm saying is the young man who's going to work every day, paying his taxes, struggling to afford rent, living in a town which is getting more and more crime-ridden, living in a town with all these liberals who are turning to socialism and communism and supporting the Somalis and fighting ICE because nobody else has any money and everyone else is on welfare and everyone's frauding, everyone's stealing from the government, NGOs are stealing, no FBI raids on the Somali daycares. You're a young 20-year-old man, you're going to work every day, you're struggling to pay your bills, Somalis are getting billions from the government. None of them are in chains. You're told to continue to pay your taxes. Shut up. And like, how long do we think people are going to get fucked before they say, no, this is bullshit? The social contract in the West, whether we like it or not, is broken. The social contract is broken. Young men who do the right thing are not being rewarded for doing the right thing. And we think they're going to continue to do it? They're turning to socialism because they're revolutionaries. They're turning to anti-Semitism because they're revolutionaries. Because they feel completely lost. Because we've given them nothing. Even the most basic thing. Fuck giving them houses and money. Forget that. They can't even get a girlfriend, bro. They can't even get a girl in Miami. The girls their age want men twice their age who are millionaires. These men are lonely. They are depressed. They see no way out. And this ends one way. Whether we like it or not. Whether we like it. So I'm actually saying, as a capitalist, we need to at least make the capitalism game playable again. If I was president, and I'm not, and I don't believe I'm qualified to be, Trump is a million times smarter than I am. Trump's been through a bunch more than I have. I'm glad he's the president. But even he understands, unless we can find a way to get people to engage with this system, it's going to break. It's going to break whether we like it or not. And that's the situation we're currently in the West. To fix our society, by and large, to fix it, everybody needs to feel included within it. They need to feel like if I do the right thing for the society does the right thing for me. And if you're actually honest with yourself, if you're a 22-year-old man, like you said, yes, you can function on personal excellence. Yes, you can say I'm going to be better than everyone else. Yes, you can say I'm going to escape the matrix. It's true. But of course, not everybody can do that. Of course, there's going to be exceptional people who manage to do it and most don't. The majority of people, if you look at their lives and you look at the positions and the opportunities that are afforded to them, they don't want to play anymore.
One thing is, it's clear that Andrew Tate tried to dissect why capitalism is not working and why people are going to or have buying to the idea of socialism. But when it comes to why people are maybe attacking Israel so much or the antiseptic, as they say, it's not because they are poor. I believe whatever happened in the Middle East, especially for the last 2 years, is what has caused so many anger that people can see this country is no longer a victim. It's a country that can commit G crimes comfortably and no one can question them because they are a super tribe or a super family or a super people. And this is what is causing antiseptic issues in quotes. But when you say like people are not buying to capitalism because people cannot afford to make good money, I would agree with you. And the issues of capitalism is that the game is rigged for now, for sure. We can tell that it's very hard for a poor man to make a lot of money. it's very rare to move from one class to another. And I noted that PBD Podcast did want to hear this concept. He only wanted to focus on antiseptic issues because, he has a selfish interest, and you can tell he's a Zionist who want to push a narrative that people are just poor, that's why they are attacking Israel. But I don't want to agree with this. And I feel like when it comes to capitalism, people need to think, because capitalism is not working anymore. People must look at the bigger picture and see and understand that things are not the same as they were. And when people see and get informed that and try to compare their communities with other communities, they can compare to what is happening to China and other countries, they question whether this system, capitalistic democracy, is making sense to them or not. And this way, I feel like it's a big issue. When it comes to anti-Semitic issues, I totally disagree with him that people are poor and that's why they're attacking or criticizing Israel. I disagree with that. And I feel it's more of illiterate. It doesn't make sense. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I'm your host, James. Let's meet in the next video.